Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. Today I thought I would talk about books I still would like to read from the 1920s. I currently have like a story graph. On there it says 5 years reading challenge going, and the aim is to read at least one book from each year of the 1920s during the 2020s. Obviously, like, the ideal way to do that would be to focus on each year per 2020 year, if that makes sense, but that isn't how I've been doing it. And also, obviously, I have already read books from the 1920s before this, so some of them don't count because the challenge started on the 1st of January 2020, and I have already read those books, but I'm still looking to read books from those years. And I'll leave like a link to the challenge in the description box if you're interested in joining in. I think you should just be able to look at the page, so I have just added like various books to each year, so there are like some ideas if you're interested just in like looking at it. I thought I'd go through like in chronological order books I have to read from each year, and I have put some where I have already completed like the prompt of reading it, but just because I want to read those books. And also, if you have any recommendations of books to read, especially in the earlier years I guess, then definitely let me know. And this isn't like an exhaustive list, it's just like the highlights I guess. So the one for 1920 is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. Then for 1921 I have Vera by Elizabeth von Armin, which I believe is like inspiration for Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which is kind of interesting. And also a new book that's coming out from Handheld Press called Latchkey Ladies by Marjorie Grant, I want to say, which looks kind of fun and is following like a bunch of like single women in London, I think. For 1923 I of course want to read Challenge by Vita Sackville-West, which is a Romana Clef, you know, one of those novels that's basically about real life, about like her running away to get married to Violet Trefusis. For 1924 I really want to read There Is Confusion by Jessie Redmond Fawcett, which is a book I found out on Cozy Comfy Up's channel, I think, and yeah, it looks really interesting. And for 1925 I want to read a book called Bread Givers by Anja Jezieska. I probably did not pronounce that right, and I'll look up the next time I speak about it. But yeah, it's like a Jewish book about people who live in the Lower East Side. For 1926 I do actually have a copy of this book, but I just don't have it right now, but I would like to read the like fantasy book Blood in the Mist by someone whose name I have forgotten. The copy I have has like a gorgeous cover. For 1927 I have 2 books. One of them is The Journal of Catherine Mansfield, which I have been like a bit hesitant to get to, but I think it will be kind of intense, so. And the other is Dusty Answer by Rosamund Lehman, which is like queer. I don't actually have a book for 1928. I've read quite a lot from 1928. It was like a big year I guess for like Daiki books, but also just, I don't know, like the culmination of like 1920s stuff too. I think 1929 also has quite a lot of books that I would like to read from it too, but already have begun to read from it. But I do have one for it, so that's Mr. Martin's Son, which is by Lao She, and it's like set in London, and it's about Mr. Martin and his son who've like immigrated from China, and just like about their lives together. I think some of these books will be harder to track down than others, because like whilst Mr. Martin's Son, like that is in a Penguin vintage edition, I've never ever heard of it until I was like doing research specifically for this, and I've never seen it anywhere. And the Jessie Redmond Fawcett book I think I might find hard to find a copy of as well. I mean, both of those and all of these books are ones I really want to read, so I'm obviously going to do my best to find copies. It also does mean that like the likelihood of them being audiobook versions is much less too, which is also a bit of a shame. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you have any recommendations for me, or if you're interested in trying to read more 1920s literature during the 2020s. Yeah, I hope you have a nice day. Bye!